So I wanted to show you what I use for handbrakes for setting out cars on the layout. In most cases, the tracks are level enough that the cars won't roll by themselves, but I was off a little bit here at Mayflower, so I was having problems trying to spot cars above the tipple. You can see that there's just enough grade that they'll roll. So I needed a way to stop them and hold the handbrake. And in some cases, I've got a manual brake, and I use that for holding heavy cuts of cars or steep grades. But for the ones that just hold a couple cars in a spot, what I do is I use little brushes up through the tracks to basically provide a little friction on the axles and hold the car in place. And they're made from just these cheap little brushes. You can buy 100 of them for just a few bucks, really. And they look like this initially, and when you take a pair of scissors to them, you cut them down a little bit, trim them down to just a few of the fibers, and that will allow the cars to roll over them without too much friction, but will hold the cars. So the more level it is, the fewer of these fibers you need to keep it in place. The steeper the grade, the more cars you need to hold, the more the fibers you want to leave in place. So you can see here I've got some cars being held by one of these right now. If I want, I can move them up to the next one and hold cars up here, or I can let them go, and you see the cars will roll, pick up some steam, but eventually this will at least slow them down, and if you just set them there, it'll stop them. So now I can take a cut of cars and shove them under the tipple to the empty tracks here, and you can see I've got a little hook on the end, and they'll just hold there very nicely. But when it comes time to remove the cut, really the engine just pulls like it normally would. There's not a whole lot of friction, so the locomotive would have no problem pulling those out despite those quote-unquote handbrakes. So anyway, thought I'd show them to you. They're very simple to make, and they're very effective. And if you put one in that has too much friction, you just take your scissors and cut off a few more of the fibers. Cheap and easy project for an operational gain of handbrakes.